Yeah, it's nice to be connected to the mental health community. And I will go over a presentation with you today that kind of shares a story of how I look at the combination of three components. And regarding Wim Hof, just to mention that this instrument, just a second. I will be talking about this instrument as well. So just a brief kind of few sounds for you to hear. Everyone hears this? Perfect. And I will also talk about an instrument like this, which is kind of a smaller version, but I guess you can hear this too. So already we can kind of listen to the sounds and calm our breath. From the nose, breathe slowly and lightly. And regarding Wim Hof, I had the privilege to cooperate with him, and he helped me to promote this instrument when we launched several years ago. So that was great, and several of his I don't know what to say, practitioners or whatever are using this here in Israel and in some places in the world. But I guess I'm gonna share with you my basic simple presentation so we can start with going a bit more into the details. Okay, so just let me know that you see this, right? Everybody sees this? Great. Perfect, thank you. I would also like to know, even before we start, what is your background a little bit, because we're not too many people here. So if you can just write on the chat, maybe like what's your background? Are you a mental health practitioner, trainer, or anything like that? And if you're doing any kind of modality of or technique for therapy of some kind, I would just love to read from you and just to get to know you. So it would be great if you can write a few words about yourself, if you feel comfortable with that, so I kind of know a bit more. I wish it would be in person. I'm now delivering a frontal course in the last few weeks, like really live course after everything that happened with the COVID things and everything. Then it's really nice to see how people are coming and they're sharing vibrations. So I wish this would be also something a bit more live. Okay, thank you, Sarah, meta health enthusiast. Okay, I'm a vocal sound healer. Nice. Shaman, and I'm known quite a bit about Hammer. Okay, and find it fascinating. Great. Super nice. Sandra, I'm a licensed therapist in the US, EFT practitioner in mental health training. Nice. EFT, I used to do a lot of EFT. Nice. I'm going to contact you these days about my project. Perfect, Sarah. Perfect. Joyful breath. I'm working as an osteopath. Okay, cool. Yes, holistic coach and Vastu can? Yeah, Vastu consult. Nice. I am the one sending the mental health invoices. Oh, nice, Sarah. Yes. Good to know. Good to know. Thank you. Yeah, the name seemed familiar. Okay, perfect. Thank you for your messages. Feel free to write messages here. I will get to those at some point later on. So let's go through the presentation. There's another, okay, mental health coach and trainer. Yeah, we know you, Cora. NLP techniques, mindfulness, and body-mind techniques. Perfect. Okay, so what I want to share with you today is about natural healing, sound, and breath. And these three components have been, in my life, a really beautiful combination. And it helped with reducing stress for better and healthier life. And I'm gonna move the, okay, great. So the combination about truth and natural healing and sound and breathing can be therapeutic and also preventive tool for everything, and reduces tension in the body in a natural way. Now, I know it sounds a bit big in the form that there are many techniques, and people are not talking about prevention, which is something that we as meta health practitioners, some of us, most of us, then we know that when we understand how stress works, we can actually look at prevention. And most people don't talk about prevention. And there is no common understanding of where the pain and mental challenge really come from for many people. But for us, we kind of know. And of course, we know that we don't know everything, and it's all about like looking into the things and trying to understand how every person is reacting differently to stress, and find the core reasons, patterns, or even if it's just one event. But we definitely understand that stress is creating most, if not all, challenges. Now, I want to share with you 3 ingredients that create something complete that can make a revolution in your personal and professional level. I mean, that's why I'm here. I'm going to share a little bit about who I am now. I'm going to do it brief so you can kind of get to know me without too many details. So about 20 years ago, I was a discharged soldier after a challenging service in a special unit in the Israeli army. Of course, every Israeli is going through some army most of the time, and I had my several years, and I had to take care of myself. I had something mental and physical, and I know that I knew that I needed to do something. Okay, so that's it. I guess that most of us had similar ways in the form of we needed to take care of ourselves. Now, amazing people opened a door for me to this world of treatment, diagnosis, and over the years I have seen really amazing things that happened with basically spontaneous healing, what medicine will call, and you know this as natural healing from meta health. So even chronic issues heal quickly because we got to know the source of them. And I have seen people who have experienced challenging traumas come back to life, including the Nova survivors, several Nova survivors from, I don't know if most of you know this, but I'm going to share it briefly. You don't know the Nova party? Yeah, okay, great. So just to be brief, because it is quite a crazy scene, but there was a party in Israel on October 7th that resulted in a massacre. So people came to a party, and thousands of them, and eventually it just became a horror scene with getting basically butchered, raped, and shot and everything, which I'm not going into politics here. I'm just talking about what I worked with. Okay, it's not about taking any sides or anything, just to make sure. But what happened there was just something that it's not something that I heard about in the news. It's something that I actually met. I met people the day after that happened. I treated people from that severe trauma. We're talking about people running away from people running after them with guns and with heavy like heavy RPGs and whatnot. Okay, so we're talking about traumas that usually you wouldn't find in Europe or in any other country in the world. We're talking about like the hardcore trauma, PTSD, crazy stuff, not just soldiers but civilians in a party experiencing a very, very intense trauma and surviving a party that became a massacre. That's a thing I work with. I also work with people with mania and depression for years now. It has been my specialty from my master's but back then. I learned with Anu Mehta. You probably know her. She's great. And so I've been working with them, with soldiers, with reservists, so people that are civilians but got called to the war. I was also soldiers back then, so I had my first-hand experience, so I got to know that and heal that part of myself. And we had a project with them, that with the Nova survivors, and we donated dozens of these instruments with guidance of breathing and of sound, and we see great results. I will share that with you later on. I studied EFT and matrix printing and delivered workshops and webinars in the past with some people you probably know, but won't go into all the names right now. Now indeed I work with I didn't got that in the presentation, but I work with a different technique when I work with people one-on-one that is super fast, and it works for me. It works better than, or faster and more efficient from other therapies like EFT or matrix printing, and that will be maybe in another webinar. Now I see that there is a little word here. I don't know if you see it, that is a little bit messed up, but I will just read what you need to know. So as you heard from Cora, I'm also a practitioner and trainer, and due to this situation in Israel, what's happening now, I'm sharing with you a method that helped specifically and mainly with PTSD. Hopefully that will help you as well. So the name of the method is Sounds Breath, which is more for groups but also for one-on-one. So I'm going to share with you 3 ingredients that will shorten the way for you to any kind of therapeutic and preventive value in a unique and natural way. Now I know some of you are skeptic about any new method, so I'm just gonna, that's okay, that's super cool, and we're just gonna go into what I felt, and maybe you will feel the same. Okay, so ingredient number 1 is the natural healing, how to heal naturally from anything. Now most of you here know mental health, but this is an inner approach. And what do I mean with an inner approach? I'm just going to share the slide and explain as we go. So knowledge and deep confidence in natural healing. And what I mean by that is that what I found is that we as practitioners or mental health and enthusiasts, we know that when we get the source of our stress, which is the source of our symptoms, we feel better. Now that takes us away from the confusion. Okay, now as practitioners, we come with this confidence in our body and in other people's bodies that is vibrating through us. Okay, that is something that when I started my path in mental health, I didn't realize how much of an emphasis, or at least how much it will be grounding for me to actually know that the body can't be infected by a disease or by anything just randomly like so many people think. And that is something that I feel, and I want to share with you how when we feel this, what happens basically. Now most of you know this. I share these slides anyway because if you don't know where it all comes from, but I think I heard from you that you do, then this is this slide with you, okay? So Hammer, because if you're watching this in a recording and you don't know mental health, so 40 years ago, Dr. Hammer lost his son, and after months of trying to save his life, he died. And he was diagnosed with cancers 3 months after his son's death, Dr. Hammer, and he discovered a tumor in his testicles. Now, he did the math and he just said, okay, so my descendant, my son died, and now it's in my testicles. So he went and he questioned and surveyed people in the oncological department and created a study with thousands of participants later on. But in this first study he took, he found that all of the people with testicular cancer or testicular problems that are similar to what he had were created from the same kind of having a loss of a son or something like a son, something on this specific of communication and intimacy. And he founded the new medicine, German new medicine, was developed in a holistic way into meta medicine and became meta health coaching, which is amazing, and the Meta Health Association, which is great. Now, large companies prefer that we don't know our reasons and we don't know the rare knowledge, and people are not promoting the fact that we can heal naturally from anything, and we are giving away our power to a lot of companies, and we're looking for help from other sources, but we can heal naturally. And I'm just gonna emphasize that I'm not talking about having a car accident and not going to the hospital, or having something that is acute right now that needs special and emergency care. That is fine. That is the best thing about Western medicine, if you ask me. All the rest is probably not as necessary. So, Meta Health, German new medicine, for all you guys who don't know what is the history. Now, if you know this, great, and most of you do, so I'm going to go with briefly about it. So we start with health, which is number one. That is our day-to-day life, okay? So we're going from sympathetic nervous system to parasympathetic nervous system on the blue, okay? So number one, we have red, active, we are alert, and then we are going into the wave of the bottom wave of the blue and back to the red when we wake up. So that's our day-to-day. What happens is that number two is a stress trigger, which is basically a way of our body to go into survival mode, okay? And a survival mode, okay, and thank you for the link, Cora. So survival mode get triggered by an event in our life. Now, it doesn't have to be one event. Many of the times it will be several events, but just to be focused, what happened to Hammer is that it was one event that his son was killed. Actually, before his son was killed, he was shot, and then he had the stress trigger. Then number three is the stress phase, trying to fight for his son's life, okay? That took about 3 months. And then number four, his son passed away, which is unfortunate, but it also gave birth to what we are experiencing professionally, and it changed our life, basically. So I'm in much gratitude for what Hammer had to go through, and I'm sure that he is too, from what I read, from what he was talking about in the past. So number four is when his son died, he understood that he doesn't have to fight anymore. He can just let go, and then he went into the healing phase, which is in blue, number 5, and that's where there is tissue restoration. So there was damage in his testicles, okay, in some part of his testicles, and then there is a need for restoration. So the parts that are not needed anymore are being restored, or parts that have been affected are being restored. And then number 6 is the healing peak, or the healing crisis, which is basically a way for the body to get the excess liquids or excess cells out of the body. This could be kind of trembling, it could be a headache, it could be secretions, it could be several things. In the cases of stomach, digestion is usually in classic when we throw up, vomit, or we have diarrhea. Now, number 7 is specifically after number 6. So after we're in the middle of the regeneration phase, the second phase, we're going into normalization, which is the way of the body to go slowly back into normal function. Number 8 is when we finish this phase, so we are over the stress phase, we're over the regeneration phase, and slowly we're going back into the health phase, which is number 9. So this is how disease works. It also works this way with any kind of injury, from my experience. Now, when we know this, something happens. When we know this, and of course, I'm just going to share this as well, that every phenomenon is also linked to survival response in the brain that affects certain organs in the body, and we are going to go through several of the F's. Okay, I'm going to ask you, already you can write in the chat, how many F's do you know about? So there is fight, flight, and tell me which more F's do you know? How many of them? You can even just write a number. You don't have to write all the F's you know. You can just write a number. If there's 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, maybe just 3, please write it down. Thank you. So it all starts from the embryonic level, from our embryology in our stomach, in the womb of our mother. Then we are divided to 4 layers, and each layer is basically in charge of different layer in our body. So each area of the brain, like the brainstem, the cerebellum, and the medulla and cortex, are in charge and correlate with a specific organ layer and specific organs as well. And it's much more complicated than that, of course, as most of you know. So let's move on, but that's how it works. Now, this is really important knowledge because this knowledge changes our entire perspective on pain and physical challenges. And we truly understand that there is a certain reason behind everything, and it creates a calmness and certainty in us that we bring everywhere. The knowledge can create a feeling, and we vibrate that feeling from our heart. Okay, so that's like something that I feel. Okay, so I see there is fight. Okay, I hear the freeze, faint, freeze, fawn. Okay, great. So I'm gonna go through it very, very soon. Okay, so before we're gonna go into the second component, I'm gonna share with you the F's that I'm aware of. Maybe there are more. So we do have the fight, which is fighting, okay, fighting something. We are in resistance. Then we have the flight, which is running away, looking for shelter. Then, of course, we have the freeze. The freeze is when we can't do anything at that point. So we basically freeze. We are immobilized. But then we have faint, which is the fourth one. And the fourth one, in such overload, our body just turns off, basically. It's a bit more complex than that, but basically that's what's happening. We need to play dead for real. Okay, so as play dead as much as we can, we need to be there, and we are already saying goodbye in a way. And then we have 2 more. And the other ones are quite fascinating, because there is fawn, as I see someone wrote already, which is great. And fawn is when we are putting our needs behind someone else's. So we're putting someone else's needs before our own, and we become kind of servants, and we always want to be pleasers. And that is our way to survive and to be accepted, because we know if we are not going to please others, then we might not have a place in the tribe, we will not have protection, and we eventually will not survive. And I know about specific stories from different zones and from Holocaust and stories that I've heard that people really just became servants in order to save their families' lives, and not even their own. They just they wanted to survive on a descendant level, on a way that their kids will be able to move on and to have a life, and they basically became servants. And the sixth one, and the last one that I know about, maybe there are more, is fiend. And what is fiend? Fiend is when we go into a bad spirit. So we're going into revenge. So we know that at this point in time, we cannot do anything, but our mind starts to be obsessive about how we're going to attack, or we're going to run away, or we're going to do something in the future, which is from our most evolved part of the brain, which is the social neocortex, and that is the fiend F. So the F's that I know about are 6, and I would love to know if you know about more of them. Now let's move on to the second component, which is significant change from the inside, and we're going to practice some breathing very soon. So breathing. Yes, let's see if there's more. Sorry, I have to leave early. Okay, Tias, thank you. Bye for now. Okay, so ingredient number 2, breathing. How to influence the brain waves with the help of 2 types of breathing. And that is, my friends, an internal. It's an internal effect on our physiology, and it reduces stress and physiological improvement. There are many more forms of and patterns of breathing, so we're going to talk about 2 types of breathing that affect everything. But first, do you know what is the length in seconds of a normal inhale? Should please write on the chat. What is it? 5.5, 6 seconds. Great. I love it. 7. Okay, Gail. Anyone? Okay, so Miriam, way to go. It is 5.5 seconds. Very good. It's true. And what I notice is 5.5 is slightly intimidating for people. They're kind of going like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5. You know, they're kind of not getting it precisely. And by the way, later in the questions part, the Q&A part, I would love to talk about it a little bit, or you know, people can share some things and not just ask questions. So I usually tell people that it's 5 in and 5 out, and of course from the nose. So what we're going to do now is just to kind of get everyone evened out on this effect. We're going to breathe a normal breath that is supposed to be the breath that we breathe during the day naturally every day. So I'm going to count for you. Okay, it's going to be 5 in and 5 out from the nose, very slowly. And what I'm asking you to do is to also notice your belly, and to notice that it's going a little bit out and a little bit to the sides, in a way that if you put your... I actually can't see my camera. Let me just see this. Yeah, okay, cool. So now, if you take your thumbs... Okay, if you don't know this exercise, you take your thumbs and you put them between your pelvis bone and your rib cage, the lower ribs. Okay, so kind of here on the sides. Okay, like this. Okay, and you do that, and then we're going to start the breathing, and you notice what's going on with the thumbs. Okay, so everybody take air out, just put it out from the nose, and inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale from the nose 3, 4, 5, and inhale slowly from the nose 4, 5, and exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. One last time from the nose and exhale. Great. Now, did you feel your thumbs going sideways a little bit, expanding from one to another? If you did, just raise your hand. I can't see everyone, but I can see some of you right now. Great. Okay, so if you felt a movement of your thumbs kind of going like slightly further away from each other, so basically you were pushing from your diaphragm, from the expansion of your diaphragm, you're pushing your thumbs sideways, that means that you have more of a full breath. And if you didn't, then I would suggest to look for that breath to expand your thumbs sideways, and then maybe the belly goes slightly a little bit more like forward, kind of a little bit up, like a balloon, your belly. So basically to the sides and slightly to the front. Okay, that's like a normal kind of breathing. So look for that when you breathe, and that's from your nose. Now, let's try something else. If you're really, really tired, by the way, then I would not suggest the next breathing pattern. And if you are stressed or in some form of anxiety, I would also not suggest this kind of breath. We're going to induce the sympathetic nervous system with this breath. Are you ready? Okay, so you can still do it from your nose. It will be more intense from the mouth, but I wouldn't go there right now. So from the nose, everybody exhale and inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and exhale 2, 3, and inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and exhale 2, 3, and inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and exhale 2, 3, and inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and exhale 2, 3. Okay, that's it. Was it challenging for some of you? If it was, raise your hands. Okay, great. Did you feel in this very short exercise slightly some kind of an effect? Could be anything. I wouldn't put words in your mouth. So if you did feel anything, just write it in the chat, because we didn't do so many breaths. We did very little breathing. So if you did feel anything, just write in the chat, just in a word or a couple of words, just so I know what you felt. Let's see if we have something in the chat. I hope it's okay that I'm kind of asking you to write. Yeah, felt calm overall. Okay, little dizziness. Okay, interesting, very interesting. Anyone else? Little dizziness. Okay, so why is the dizziness? The dizziness is, of course, because we didn't have any oxygen in the brain. And if somebody here felt slightly more alert, it's because we induced the pumping up energy. Okay, great, Cora. That's exactly what it's supposed to do. Now, if you felt pumping up of energy, that it means that you're probably more balanced overall. Okay, because usually these kind of breathing patterns. Okay, great. I now see another reaction here. So if these breathing patterns work on us, then it means that our body is reacting in the way that it's supposed to react. Now, if you felt calmer, it might mean that you had slightly more stress, and then what happened is that the body slightly collapsed, a little bit collapsed, because we even induced more stress in the system. So I would suggest to explore this with yourselves and to see what it brings up. Okay? So sympathetic respiration is a part of the fight and flight response of the sympathetic nervous system, which you probably know about. Shallow and quick breaths increases heart rate and blood pressure, redirects blood flow to muscles and away from non-essential function, involved as a survival mechanism to respond to threats. It's common in stressful situations or when facing danger. Can lead to increased alertness and energy. So that's what it's supposed to do. And of course, it doesn't have to be affecting everyone very quickly. You might need to do this for about 2 or 3 minutes until you actually get a stronger effect. And most of us, I guess, are nighttime. So if it's like an evening kind of time, we're anyway going slightly more into parasympathetic activation. So it could affect differently each one of us. Now, parasympathetic respiration. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to count for you, and it's going to be a different kind of breathing, and then I'm going to share with you why it all happens. So everybody, please take air out. And inhale slowly, 2, 3, 4, and from the nose out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and inhale from the nose, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great, 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 great. Now you can just breathe calmly. And now tell me in the chat, please, did you feel anything from this breathing pattern? And a very, very short breathing pattern. We did it like probably about a minute. Yeah, little air hunger, calmer. Great. Calmer. Great. Okay. Super cool. Super cool. Perfect. So that was parasympathetic respiration, part of the rest and digest response of the parasympathetic nervous system. Yeah, I see T.S. is writing, or her husband, more centered. Deep, slow, and controlled breaths lowers heart rate and blood pressure, promotes relaxation and restoration, facilitates digestion and other non-emergency bodily functions, common during rest, relaxation, or meditation, reduces stress, and helps the body in a state of balance. Now, breathing and brainwaves affects it affects necessarily our function and health. Okay, it's necessarily for function and health. Something here is not written very well, so apologies. The effect is, if we breathe regularly, shallow or deep breathing, we will experience a difference in the brain wave activity. Okay, here on the right is just a kind of a representation, and on the right side you will see the lower brain waves, and on the left side you will see more higher brain waves in speed. We will not go into that in very much depth on this webinar. We are limited in time, but let's start from, you probably know, most of you, or if not some of you, that delta are low frequency deep sleep, and they are very slow brain waves. Now what I'm suggesting, when we are sleeping, our breath is of course derived from that state, but what if we can actually navigate our breathing to allow this state? Okay, so is the breathing controlling us, or are we controlling our breathing? because when we are in theta, we are kind of light sleep, drowsiness, kind of, we're not completely awake. So the brainwave starts to increase in speed, and our breathing will be slightly different, a bit more engaged, slightly faster. Alpha, we are in concentration and calmness. So these are usually very coherent brainwaves, but not necessarily, but it's usually coherent brainwaves that also with stable breathing, still calm and very, very nice from the breath. Beta is alertness, activity. So we are on the go, we're going for it, we're having a day activity, errands, with work, we're in the yard, whatever we do. This is higher waves, and the breathing will be of course naturally activated in a way that is correlated with the brainwave. So if we are in high beta, it's increased activity and tension. This is where we will see very, very dispersed kind of, not in a good way, let's say a breathing pattern that is usually more of a sympathetic nervous system activation, kind of faster and maybe deeper, very like heavy sometimes, and it will increase our activation and also our brainwave activity. Now, one is very interesting is that gamma is improved perception and consciousness, and I found that we can actually induce gamma by going through several patterns or one very specific, eventually get to gamma, and then it will naturally drive our breathing into a very coherent, stable breathing pattern. Now, gamma is not something that I take lightly. I think that to achieve gamma is something that needs, it's kind of an opening of the third eye in a way. It's something that we get in very deep meditations and in specific breathing patterns, and even some pelvic floor activation. So that is maybe for another webinar. But what I found eventually, just to sum it up, that the important thing is that breathing in a certain way can affect the brainwaves, okay, and take us out of survival mode. That's the main event. It's not about just all the brainwaves, it's about coming out of survival mode. And that means that we have access to another ingredient that enables natural healing. So we talked about several ingredients so far. The natural healing. Now we're talking about like the mental health, confidence, and confidence in our bodies and in other bodies. And we talked about the breath. The third element is the sound. How sounds allow improved energy flow and offer therapeutic benefits. Now, I'm just suggesting that probably some of you didn't know about these benefits, but most of you probably did. And this is an external instrument or tool that I use. Okay, it's actually from instruments that I make, but it's coming from out of the body, so it's away from the outside, not from the inside, like the breathing. Now, it's also important to say that the three ingredients I'm talking about are very nice, each one as a part, and each one of them just separately are great, but that's what I do. I use three of them together, and I found that that's what makes the difference from other stuff that I see and other results that I see with people around me. Now, many people think that music is only for the ears, but has anyone here ever felt the bass of a speaker in their stomach? Yes? Great. So it's not just for the ears, we actually feel it with our body. And did anyone here ever hear a loud noise that hurts the head in a way? Now, who heard a song that in seconds made him or her dance? Did this happen as well? I hope that yes, because it's really fun. If you know this, I'm happy that you do, because we are very synchronized. This is sound. Okay, this is visual sound. It's called sematics. It's how in Hebrew, but it's sematics. So this is actually water, and this is light on the water, and sound is beneath, vibrating the water. It creates symmetrical geometry. Okay, symmetrical geometry, harmonic energy transition, because you probably understand that when things are very symmetric, then of course energy can flow in more ease, right, than in some random kind of pattern. This is very interesting, my friends. The volume of the human body is 60 to 70% water, but at a molecular level, the human body is 99% water. And this is from Gerald Pollock from the University of Washington. Okay, so this is, it's Pollock, Gerald Pollock, which is crazy to think about, because if we are 99% molecularly water, that means that this picture is much more profound in the way that we actually live our lives than we ever thought, because sound is affecting 99% of our body. Now that is something that when I found about, I was just like, okay, I'm going in. And I'm in this field. I mean, I'm in mental health for 14 years now, at least, and in music and sound something like 25 years. Like, I made my first instrument 25 years ago, so it's all connected here for me. The most important thing to understand here is that the power that sound has on the harmonious flow of energy in the body, and even studies have shown that live music, this is amazing, because live music is more effective in providing therapeutic benefits than recorded music. By the way, very soon I will just deliver a short meditation for you guys with everything together. Okay, so stick around. It helps to reduce pain, anxiety, and stress, and improve the mood and well-being of patients. Now, this I take from studies, okay? It's not something that is just like I did with 5 people and I got to that conclusion. This is like backed up studies from well-known sites. Now, this is important because it is another component that allows us to reach deep presence, okay? Because sounds bring us to the present moment. It affects the body's water and naturally improves its function. Now, this is basically how everything works together. By the way, I added this slide because it's super intriguing that in the year 2024, I got this, by the way, 2 years ago, this SkyQuest statistic. It's a very good website for really valid statistics, that there is a shortage in 185,000 music therapists worldwide. Now, I think it corresponds directly with the need to reduce tension, because we also know from studies and from statistics, and you know this from the mental health field as well, that it's already proven in several studies that at least 90% of why people are going to doctors is coming from stress. And this is also in like some really, really famous articles and studies. So I feel that if there will be 185,000 music therapists, we will see different statistics, because this 185,000 music therapists will affect millions of people in several years, and it will be amazing. So that's like my vision. So I'm just sharing it with you. Okay. Now the combination of 3 dimensions that create an immediate experience that affects our frequency, vibration, and with whom we will share, and together we enable transformation. So that's how I see it. Very simple. I see that something is happening in the inside, something is coming from the outside, and is centered by our knowledge and understanding that our body is always in healing in some state. It could be stressed, it could be in the rest phase, but it's always in a understandable, with confidence kind of state. That's how I feel about it. And it's not about saying that I know everything about a body or how it works completely. We can't understand our own bodies to the full stop. Yeah, I got it, everything. But we have confidence in our body, and I know that if I have a cold, if I have an itch, or if I got injured, I'm not looking out, I'm looking in, and I feel confident, and I know that something happened and it has a reason, and I'm not confused. I'm more in acceptance and compassion, and that's how I look at other people as well. Now I know maybe some of you think that there are some instruments. I mean, if you want to bring these instruments to your life, or music, maybe some of you do use music. I feel there is a misconception about music, and I want to share with you how simple it is to play instruments. But first I want to share with you a meditation. But yeah, let me just see this. Yeah, because the instruments that I make, you don't need to know anything how to play those. And yeah, okay. I just want to share that when I had the idea, and that's like toward the end, I'm going to share this. These are the instruments, but first I want to share with you the meditation, because I don't want to end right here, because this is the end, and then we're going to go into Q&A, and you can then look up some stuff if you want to know further. Let me choose this one. Okay, so if you can hear this, okay, I'm gonna go out from this just for a second. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna keep the screen. I wanted to stop share, but I prefer that you actually, if you feel comfortable, close your eyes. Now, what I would love for you to do is to breathe slowly from your nose and just listen to the sounds. And feel how your body reacts. And just slow your breathing even more from the nose. Great. Just slow your breathing. Notice if you have any tension in your body, any thoughts. And breathing from the nose very softly, very calmly. Great. Now, still with connecting to your breathing, enjoy the silence. And we're just going to listen to the sound from beginning to the end. Beginning to the end. And one last time, I'm going to listen from the beginning till there is no sound. Thank you for participating in this short, hopefully sweet meditation. I'm just going to share this picture with you of these instruments. I didn't know how special it would be for me in my life, but the bajin on the right side is actually officially patented and has reached hundreds of people, and the two instruments on the left is a combination that it's a result of working with one of the leading foundations for mental health in Israel. They have this carpentry in Israel that is the workers there are people who are dealing with mental health issues. So people who are medicated, had some very severe traumas, and they, together with them, we created this, the other two instruments. So that's it for the presentation about the instruments and all that. I just want to share another thing about these amazing people, and just to show you a little bit more about my work. So these are people who came out of the army and became handicapped. Like one of them here doesn't have a leg, the other ones have problems with mental distress or PTSD of some kind or other issues. And I'm just going to share briefly the story that before I came there, people were really skeptic because they said, okay, so these guys are like hardcore, you know, they had like a very hard life and they went to war and all that. And I'm just like, okay, you know, let me try, because now with these instruments, something new happened in my life several years ago. And I came there and they loved it, and they learned how to breathe correctly, and the stress decreased immensely for all of them. They learned how to breathe in ways that could regulate their mood and could regulate their function, and they use the sounds. They have instruments there that have been donated, and yeah, they enjoyed. So I used to go there every week for several months, and this is a picture of me with them. And also about the Nova survivors, that they report better sleep and less anxiety, because we also have had a donation project that gave them instruments, and we gave them guidance on how to use these instruments. And why I'm telling you this is because I feel that anyone can use these techniques, and I feel that the next level is after we as therapists or people who want to help others, is that we teach people how to help themselves with simple techniques, that they don't need to go and have like very long courses and trainings. So that's how I feel regarding music and regarding sound and regarding breath work, because it is really, really amazing when we combine these. There's an added force into them, and then we can have a full effect that is from the inside and from the outside, and can really regulate our function.